This is my 2014 Ferrari FF, and this is my giant middle finger towards SUVs, and you're watching Answered. My favorite thing about the FF is the concept of it all. It's clearly not made by a focus group, because this recipe, this concoction of a car would never have left any boardroom with any approval anywhere else. You take a giant Enzo V12, stick it in a station wagon looking thing, give it part-time all-wheel drive, charge the moon for it, $350,000 new when they first came out. There's no way this should be made, but they made it. And not only did they make it as a giant FU to the way we're all kind of transitioning to SUVs. Unnecessarily, I might add. No one needs an SUV. I mean, 9 out of 10 people who have SUVs don't need it. Station wagon is perfectly good enough. And it works. You know, this disparate ingredients to create this recipe shouldn't work as well as it does, but it does. All the features that it comes with, and mind you, this is like a circa mid-2010s car. It doesn't have CarPlay, it doesn't have like all the fancy bird's eye view camera, parking camera, but what it does have, you utilize, not a gimmick, and it makes the car more practical for everyday use. For example, it's got bumpy road mode. Bumpy road mode in most cars, they get a selection between hard, soft, and softest. And the differences aren't that obvious, and the stiff is too stiff, and the soft is too soft, and it's, you know, you can't really find what you want. BMW is, you can adjust the aggression of the shift, the sensitivity of the steering wheel, I mean, a million and one things. Oh, the M drive, center differential, locking, bias. But after having owned those cars, you can adjust those all you want. You'll never really get what you think you want. There just seem to be more trinkets to kind of keep you busy and entertained as a tech nerd than an actual driver. Whereas this car, you know, you got a bumpy road button and that's it. You got the Manotina settings, which makes some preset changes to all the differential stuff and the transmission stuff and the traction control stuff. But you know what? It's done, it's figured out. You don't have to do it. You don't have to figure anything out except where you want that Manotina setting to be. For me, I just turn all the way everything off and I drive it and it works. Another thing I like about it is the utilization of space. It's only a 4-seater. So you don't have like crap ton of passenger carrying volume, but you can seat 4 comfortably. The rear legroom is not offensive. It's much better than 911, much better than a BRZ. It's usable for a full-grown adult for short stints. The trunk is very usable. It's a nice, useful, wide shape. The rear seats roll down. I can put a mountain bike in there, and I mountain bike here, as a matter of fact. And if that's your only requirement, you don't need an SUV. Get a station wagon. It does not need to be an FF, but get a station wagon. Don't get an SUV. So our producer, Ben, is making me pick things I don't like about the car.
But before that, we have to thank Cheerful, our sponsor for this episode of Answered. If you ever need help figuring out gift ideas for a birthday or an anniversary, download the Cheerful app. It's totally free. Type in your friend's interests, select your budget, and it comes up with gift ideas for you. It's super easy. Thanks again to Cheerful for sponsoring this video.
And the things I don't like, I don't dislike a lot. They're just little things to pay attention to. First, fuel economy. As you would expect, it's not good. I think I get maybe 10 to 12 miles per gallon. But I knew that going in. I'm not complaining about it, even though technically I am. I don't care. It's good. Next thing, which I guess I don't like, is something that Ben brought up today. There's no button, as far as I know, after owning the car a few years, to open up the rear trunk. You either have to press the button inside the cockpit or the button on your key. So when Ben was trying to get his gear from the car, he had to rely on me to help him. I'm not very helpful. Other things, interior. Now, the interior is built in the same era as the 458 and other Ferraris, like, I think even this applies to the 488 as well. The buttons, this little plastic material sometimes gets sticky and fades and peels off, not befitting of an expensive car, and replacing them is not cheap, but you gotta do it eventually. That's really it.
The beeps.
The beeps, oh, the beeps, yeah, the beeps, they beep. The car beeps a lot.
There we go.
Turn it on, beeps. Put in reverse, it beeps. Don't put on your seatbelt, it beeps. And they're not a pleasant beep. It's like a cheap sounding economy car beep you would find in a Fiat 500. Not the good Abarth, the other ones, probably. Yeah, that's it. Modifications on this car are subtle, but useful. Upgrade exhaust from eBay. It's very impressive. I think it's a Rev 9 brand. You can laugh, but as someone who's built exhaust systems for my business, it's perfectly fine. What's not fine is the companies who charge $10,000, $12,000 for stainless steel piping with, you know, this much piping. You know, it's ridiculous. And if you want to make fun of me for buying something on eBay, you can do so, but I want to make fun of other people for spending $8,000 on an exhaust that the same exhaust would cost, with materials would cost $800 in their Honda, just saying. So I bought that, and it sounds fantastic. Then I also made an X pipe. This car has an H pipe in the mid pipe, you know, after the cats. Now I have an X pipe. What that does, it changes the pitch of the exhaust at high RPM. Kind of gives a less baritone, but more like higher pitch kind of scream like you would expect a Ferrari V12 to sound. Sounds great. The last mod I did was I remapped the ECU, similar to what I did on my 458, to enable the burbles under D-cell. Not only does that enable burbles, that nice little crackly pop, 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 brrr kind of sound, not pops and bangs, but they blow out cats and things like that, which I still have. I have factory cats because there's no reason to go catless. Doing so makes it smell and makes it loud. It's also really bad for the environment. Disabling the fuel cut, deceleration triggered fuel cut, gives you that little burbles. The added benefit, it also gets rid of that on-off jerkiness, that engine braking effect as you kind of barely touch the throttle like parking lot speeds. That's eliminated, so that's very nice. I remapped timing and fuel to make more power, so it makes about 20 horsepower more than stock on 91 octane, which took some work. And I remapped the throttle to be more linear, to feel nicer. Yeah, that's basically it. There's not a lot to do to this car. There's no obvious mapping problems like there was with the 458, but there are certainly areas to improve upon, which we did. And if you want to see driving footage of this car, click on the next video.